So let's do an actionable step right now. We're going to do kind of like a little questionnaire. 21 things that you need to avoid to make sure you've still got healthy sperm and testosterone levels. So answer yes or no to each one of these questions I'm about to ask you. To make it easy, what we can do is I'll copy and paste this into the description of the video below, and you can just copy and paste that into like your own notes page or your Notion page or whatever, or you can write it out on paper. And the idea is you're going to answer yes or no to every single question here, and then you're going to count how many yeses you have. The more yeses you have, the worse your score is. Question number 1. Do you ever keep your phone in your pocket? Yes or no? Question number 2. Do you keep Wi-Fi and cell service and 5 or 4G on your phone? So literally just, do you use your phone like a normal person? Your Wi-Fi's on, which 99.999% of us has to say yes to, right? Like, you probably couldn't imagine a different way where you're telling me to keep Wi-Fi and my cell service off. What's the point of my phone then? Well, if the answer to this question, that your Wi-Fi and the cell service is on, right, yes. How about your laptop or your computer? Do you use Wi-Fi? Yes or no? Do you wear a smartwatch for maybe more than an hour a day? Right, yes or no? Do you have Wi-Fi or cell service enabled in that smartwatch? Right, yes or no? If you don't have a smartwatch, then put no. Do you drink tap water? Yes or no? Do you frequently touch plastics? Do you frequently drink or eat out of plastics like water bottles or meal prep or plastic packaging? Like literally, if you imagine right here, right now, you walk into the supermarket and you can say, but I eat healthy. What are your vegetables wrapped in? Do you really go to the supermarket and buy one single apple like this? Or is it in a pack of apples wrapped in plastic? What's the water bottle, like the water container that you drink from usually? Do you have a metal one like this? Or don't bullshit yourself. Do you actually just have a normal plastic one? How often do you drink from plastic water bottles? Do you have some kind of meal prep service that sends it in those disgusting plastic trays that you're supposed to microwave? Do you smoke? Vape? Weed? Cigars? A lot of fucking Tate fanboys are really loving cigars these days. Do you smoke? Oh, but it increases my testosterone. No, it doesn't. It decreases your sperm. It makes you less of a man. Right, yes, if you do. Including vapes and all that fucking disgusting stuff. Do you drink alcohol at all? Right, yes, if you do. Do you use deodorant or perfume or aftershave? Yes or no? Do you sit next to women or men who wear fragrances? So if you're in school, for example, and you go into the changing rooms of the sports class and you can smell the fucking Lynx deodorant spray, or you go to the gym and there's always the smell, or maybe your girlfriend always is wearing like that pretty perfume that she puts on. Those things are endocrine disruptors. We'll go into the research and I'll prove every one of these to you, but let's just see what your score is, and don't bullshit yourself. Don't just start skipping this part of the thing because you're actually being held accountable to your lifestyle choices. Thinking, oh, well, you know, none of this is actually, oh, this guy's just being extreme. When it comes to your ability to have children, I think you should be extreme, right? So write yes or no with truth. Do you use deodorant? Do you spray deodorant normal? Like, if you don't stink, then yes, probably, right? So write another yes down. Do you kiss women who wear makeup? Yes or no? Do you use any product to style your hair? Gel or wax? For a very long time I did, right? I used gel and wax and stuff. Do you use any of that? This is giving me flashbacks of how disgusting it used to feel to put like gel on my hair when I was in high school. Like every morning, it's got that cold like kind of feeling to it. It's like, it makes your head shiver a little bit. Turns out all of that is an endocrine disruptor and it's fucking up your hormones. So write yes or no. Do you use normal toothpaste? Like the kind of one your parents buy, it's just Colgate, it's in the plastic tube, and it's got disgusting ingredients in it. Do you use that? Be honest. Because you've got to put yes, right? The only way that you should be putting no is if you specifically have already found like a non-endocrine disrupting toothpaste. Be honest, have you Googled that before? Probably not. So write yes for this if you use normal toothpaste. Shampoo. Body wash, yes or no? Do you just use the normal shampoo? You go to the store, the Lynx little set that everyone gets you for the Christmas birthday party or some shit, like the normal body wash. Just unless you've done like autistic research for which shampoo doesn't have estrogenic like compounds in, which you probably haven't, write another yes down. Do you wear normal clothes which you haven't checked the material in? Now be honest, before this point, when you were buying some clothes, were you checking the label to see what percentage of it was polyester or cotton? Don't lie to yourself. Or did you just think, okay, does it look good or fit good? 99.9% of guys, does it look good or fit good? Maybe some weird guys are looking at the labels thinking, wait, I'm not going to wear anything that's not organic. We're probably not him, right? Yes or no? Do you wear plastic polyester clothing? But if you didn't know, by the way, most gym clothing is polyester. That's estrogenic. Do you sit down for more than 4 hours a day? Huberman talked about this in his fertility podcast. When you sit down, for guys, especially if you've started training legs, your thighs are actually start getting bigger and bigger. And when you imagine the mass of your thighs, kind of like when you sit down, they kind of like spread a bit. It starts to warm up your testicles too much. It squeezes them and warms them up too much. So it actually decreases fertility when you sit down for too much. So do you sit down for more than 4 hours a day? I do. Right, yes. Do you take hot showers or baths or saunas? Saunas are really healthy, right? Yes or no? Are you fat? Yes or no? Are you underweight? Yes or no? Tally up all of your yeses and write a score down. How many did you get? I scored 17 at the start of the year. The only ones that I said no to at the start of this year was the smartwatch. I didn't own one. Then the second question for the smartwatch was like, do you have Wi-Fi enabled? I didn't have a smartwatch. I wasn't fat and I wasn't underweight. I scored 17 at the start of the year. And I even smoked. I want to tell you a quick story. So I smoked weed for over a year when I was in like university and stuff. And then I stopped it. It was a disgusting habit. I think weed's just a horrible drug. And when I got to Dubai, Tate's famous and everyone's talking about Tate and TikTok and like, cigars are really good. Cigars are kind of cool, bro. And I was in Dubai pretending to be a high value man like everyone else there. And like, I remember I had the surgery for the varicocele the next day. And I ended up inviting like 10 guys and girls to come over to my place and play poker and smoke cigars, and we had a good time. I think we drank a little bit as well. I think I drank alcohol that day, which I usually don't. But literally, the day before I had surgery on my balls, I smoked and I drank, and I had like a full-on surgery. They put me to sleep. I woke up and I promise you, like imagine you get to the hospital and you get a little bit like traumatized, a little bit scared of, okay, you're in the hospital. I was wearing the fucking gown and shit. Women coming in, poking me with the arm, like with the needle, okay, putting this thing in. Doctor has one last like look at me, says, okay, you're all good and stuff. Take me to this room, inject me with this, take me to this room, inject me with this. I'm in the full-on like surgical room with like, all the guys wearing all like the fucking blue suits and everything with glasses on or whatever it was, and big light shining on me. Okay, they finally put it in, and then boom, I'm just out. And then I wake up, I'm really dazed and confused, and I promise you, I woke up. I struggled to breathe for 10 hours. What was supposed to be a simple surgery, they literally put me in ICU because I struggled to breathe. They had doctors just sat in my room just watching me, expecting me to like literally suffocate because I started to like struggle to breathe. I was spitting blood. I was literally like fully spitting blood and everything. You're supposed to be able to, the surgery that I got, you're supposed to be able to leave within 1 or 2 hours. I was there for an extra 12 and the doctor really wanted to keep me overnight just to keep watching me, and I insisted that I wanted to go home. I was there in the morning. I was supposed to go home by about 1 p.m. I literally got to leave the hospital at midnight. But before that, in that space that I was there, genuinely, it was as if someone was choking me and I was breathing like that. And I was, I'm trying to act like a big man, and I was, not showing much to them, saying like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Genuinely coughing up blood, and I had all this phlegm shit in my throat, and the doctors bring me like these toys and these kind of like these tests to see my oxygen level. So you've got to like blow into this toy and it shows you like what level you get into. And I was getting the same level as like fucking elderly people. I smoked the day before a surgery, and I'm so embarrassed by this. I swear to God, what made me so embarrassed? My surgeon walks in and he looks at me like as if I'm an idiot, and he goes like, Hamza, why don't you just breathe? This, like, we see this with like 60-year-olds. Why don't you just breathe? And I'm like, I'm there croaking like, oh, you know, I partied yesterday and I smoked a cigar and I drank alcohol and stuff. And he just looked at me. He was like, he looked at me as if I was like a fucking child, like a dumb little drunk frat boy. That hurt my identity so much when I thought to myself, I am here in ICU, the intensive care unit, because of the bad habits that I did yesterday, the day before my surgery. I was so embarrassed that day, thinking to myself, why the fuck did I just, like, what pleasure do you get out of this shit? I don't need any extra stimulation or feelings inside of my body. I already have like the natural high 24/7. I was so embarrassed that day, and I genuinely wanted to go home. I was in this, like it was the longest fucking few hours of my life. I was so bored. I wanted to go home. I was so hungry as well. Couldn't eat before the surgery. Like, I wanted to bulk as well. And I literally couldn't like eat much. They gave me like a tiny little sandwich, but you couldn't eat too much because you might be sick or something. And my friend was there with me. He was just staying, like, me and him had a plan that, we'd go back home and order some food or something. And he's just there bored with me. Like, he didn't want to leave me there, which was not really nice. I was so embarrassed of like my habits and my behavior. So at the start of this year, I scored 17 on this, including smoking and drinking, which I'm so ashamed to tell you that. Now my score is 3. There's plastics in my environment. For example, my computer mouse is still plastic. My keyboard is still plastic, fair enough. I sit down for more than 4 hours a day whilst I work. I do have a standing desk now as well. And then finally, I still take like hot showers and I still use the sauna. My score is now 3 out of 21 of the list that we went through, the question list. And you might think to yourself, oh, that's a huge progress, Hamza. You should be proud of yourself. 3 is awesome. That's fine. So like, you don't need to like really care that much. A hot bath, taking a bath that's hot, and the sauna and showers, they've been shown to kill up to 50% of your sperm. To annihilate your sperm because of the heat that comes from the bath or the sauna, right? So even though I've only got 3, and you could think to yourself, oh yeah, well, you can relax now, you've got rid of most of them. I genuinely think to be healthy, we need to go extreme with this, because once again, is this not a topic that we should take to an extreme seriousness of fertility, of your manhood, to be able to pass on your genes and have children? So you can think that even with the fact that I've only scored 3 in this questionnaire, one of them is still so significant that there's research out there that shows that it kills 50% of your sperm in even a short bath. I don't take normal baths, so it's probably not as bad as that. But I assume sauna and hot shower is still destroying a lot of your sperm. The goal is to get to 0. You're not going to get there fast. I'm 5 months later, I was at 17. 5 months later, I'm at 3. That's like a fast progress still. Maybe it should take an entire year to be able to get to the point where you just have 0. Or maybe you've still got 1. So whatever one that you see yourself, you've just done this actionable step. You should do this right now, by the way. You shouldn't just keep continually listening to me. Go and get that or go and answer the questions, or I'll copy and paste it below. Just go and get it and just answer it. It should take you literally 30 seconds and have your score. Not only should you have your score, maybe you can comment it or tell it to someone else who has watched this video and ask them, what was your score in the random questionnaire that Hamza did. But also, look at exactly where you did right yes for which question. And before you cope and think, oh, but I couldn't change that though. I wouldn't be able to change that because no, that's just weird. I wouldn't change that. Just ask yourself, like, okay, but Hamza's changed it. And sure, Hamza's quite an extreme guy and whatever, but like, sure, like, I mean, if I'm an athlete. You probably do consider yourself to be an athlete now, right? You're not a normal person anymore, bro. When you're tracking every fucking grain of rice, when you're fucking weighing out your macros, like you're not a normal person. When you're meditating and reading, you're not normal anymore, right? So let's be honest. So at this point, it's like, why not just go for the extreme result? Because you're doing that in business, you're doing that in your mental health, you're doing that in your physical health. You want the extreme results, right? You want to be the outlier, right? You want to be the 1% man, right? Well, then you need to go quite extreme. So there's going to be a bunch of times where you've wrote yes for some of these questions, but you're going to look at them and say like, oh no, I wouldn't be able to change that. Break whatever limiting belief you've got inside of you and think to yourself, you can say no to every single one of these. You can genuinely say no to every single one of these. Maybe that's the ideal to get to. Maybe you don't want to live a life where, for example, you say no to the nice gym style clothing, which is all polyester. When you imagine like rugby shirts or football shirts or gym clothing, which has like kind of that breathable material, it's all polyester. Maybe you genuinely would hate to live a life without it, so that's going to be the one that you really keep. Sure. The idea is to just get your score as low as possible, preferably 0.